Hi Peaches! Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Eden. I'm known primarily for my ASMR content on my channel Eden's Garden ASMR and for my cosplays on my other accounts called Eden's Garden or not Eden's Garden. We're going to be talking about something I get a lot of questions about, which is my body paint. This character is an alien OC that I created. I ended up going to a slumber party, so we're not fully painted, but I'm going to talk about my methods, what I use, my do's and don'ts, and how I get such a smooth look. This is after having my makeup on for 8 hours, and I can do like 12 to 14 and still have it look this smooth all day, and I sweat a lot. We're gonna get into it. Lots of people always ask me how I do it. I do a lot of Monster High cosplays. If you're enjoying the video or the topic or my makeup or literally anything, don't forget to subscribe. It really helps out my channel and it'll make sure that you're able to get more tips. Supplies wise, you're going to need a brush, a blender, and I like to use a spatula and a mixer. You can literally see that I used this today. This was like a $10 kit on Amazon. It's a Korean beauty spatula and plate, and I'll put this on my Amazon storefront before I post this video. But all these items will be on my Amazon storefront, every single product, so that you can get it straight from me if you're interested in supporting me, and it just makes it easier for all of us to find. This is the palette I use. I use the Athena palette by You Can Be paired with the LA Girl Pro Color Mixing pigment. I don't use the foundation. I don't like the foundation at all, the white foundation. It's very iridescent and kind of greasy, and it does not pair well with this. I have a friend who used those two together religiously, just tried this, and they're switching because this is a better combo. So these two things together are imperative. I used to just paint with this and not use like a base or whatever, and that's fine, but it doesn't last as long and it's a lot easier to smudge. It doesn't set very well. If you have sensory issues, it feels really bad. I don't recommend just using this alone unless you're just going to be inside. But if you're going to go for long wear, I recommend pairing these together, and it leaves that nice smooth base and that more foundation-y feel rather than just straight up warm oil on your face. If you don't have sensory issues, I suppose you could just raw dog it with this. I don't recommend it though. This gives a lot of smoother base and allows it to dry down, which allows you to not have as much transferring. It's going to transfer because it's oil, but this makes it transfer less. And speaking of transferring less, I also like to use the powder that came with the kit. I also will use baby powder if baby powder is available, but powder that works with the powder that comes with the kit is perfectly fine. I like it and it works really well. I like to do about 3 coats of this, but I'll show you how I do that without overwhelming my face. Going kind of back in time a little bit, this is my favorite primer ever. I use this with every single makeup look I do, including goth looks where I'm just doing plain white, or face painting looks, or just foundation looks. This is the best primer I've ever used. It works really well for my skin type. It's called Plump It Right Back by NYX, and this is also on my Amazon storefront. I'm a really big fan of this stuff. It's a little bit on the higher price point for like drugstore makeup, but it's definitely worth it and is better than other brands that I've used. It just really makes sure that the foundation and the oil stick to your face and don't slide off. Once again, transferring is bound to happen. It's makeup, but the primer helps keep it on your face and not have it get messed up. Before we get back to the body painting tips, a couple tips for just like long wear in general. Don't touch your face. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory, but even if you have little hairs on your face and you can feel all the little things going on, try your best not to touch your face ever. I have OCD and autism, so it's really hard for me not to touch my face, especially when I can feel that it's greasy and that there's problems, and I can feel everything 110% of the time. So I really don't like not being able to touch my face, but I recommend not touching your face. When you go to a convention, event, whatever it is that you're going to, just Halloween, whatever, bring your powder and bring your paint kit. You don't have to, obviously, but I recommend it, especially if you're newer to it. You will touch your face, you will accidentally bump your face, and you don't just want to have a patch of random paint just like hanging off of your face. Also, if you do paint your neck, it's gonna come off. It always does. I don't know why my neck wants to come off so bad. It's probably just because it moves a lot and there's sweat and all that stuff, but I would definitely bring your kit and bring your powder because it is kind of annoying when you can't fix a gap. When you're applying the paint to your face, do multiple thin coats. That was really hard for me to start too. I do a thin coat, blender, another thin coat, blender, and then I use like a lighter version of the color in here to get some dimension and depth here. I have an in-depth body paint face tutorial for my avatar video when I did my avatar look, so you can check that out if you want to see something a little bit more in depth with me showing you how to do it. And then I have multiple short form videos as well on this channel and on my TikTok that are going over how to use this, and it's showing you in depth how to do so. I will make another, but for now, those are the resources I have available. I have quite a few. Another thing that helps it go on really smoothly is I also dermaplane. I haven't dermaplaned in a couple weeks though, so honestly, outdated tip, but I do notice that my face paint looks a lot better when I dermaplane, and it helps not have the weird little hairs and dust adhere to my face and then make me have nightmares. I feel a lot better and safer and more secure when I shave all the hair off my face before doing this. Paint under your wig. Do not stop right where your wig is going to be stopping. I paint all the way to like up here, like where my hairline stops, that's where I stop painting. I don't like to paint into my hairline because then that just causes issues with like washing it off, but paint under your wig, because when your wig slips back, if you don't have wig grip or whatever, which I recommend you use wig grip. I think I said that in my last video, and if not, I'm gonna get to that in the clothing section. Use wig grip, but also paint under your wig. Paint behind your ears, paint the back of your neck, depending on what hairstyle you have. Do not be caught lacking and have your skin be slipping through in places your skin should not be slipping through. Removing with oil cleanser. I didn't bring my oil cleanser over here, but I use the Numbuzin oil cleanser, which I really love. That's also in my Amazon storefront, and I have a picture of it right here. That's what I've been using for a while. You can use pretty much any oil cleanser. I really like the Numbuzin one. It's pretty cost effective, lasts a long time, makes my skin feel soothed, and I use it for dermaplaning as well, which I really like. Because the paint we're speaking about is oil-based and you accumulate oil on your face, which helps you wash it off in the first place, oil cleansers are best. You can also use like coconut oil or vegetable oil or whatever, but I just find that oil cleanser being non-comedogenic and it just works with my face really well. I prefer to just use a cleanser and not use household products, but push comes to shove, you can absolutely use household products. No one's gonna stop you. Speaking of your skin color peeking out like mine is right now, the way people always ask me if I paint my whole body, how I paint my whole body, if anybody's there to help me, how I keep it on the whole day. I don't paint my body. I paint my face and neck, and then I wear arm socks. So I'll show you with Raven and with Venus. I have on arm socks and tights. I use 50 denier tights or 80 denier tights. Hold on, my cat's trying to eat my McDonald's. Sorry. I use 80 denier tights or 50 denier tights, and I dye them myself. I hand dye them to the color that my skin is supposed to be, and then I wear them on my arms and legs. I cut the wrists off. I cut the wrists off the tights, and then I wear them just like the way you'd wear a shirt. And then I wear gloves because I personally, it's really hard for me to wear arm socks. It doesn't really work for me because I need to have access to my hands or else I lose my mind. So I prefer to use like sheer gloves, regular like princess gloves, and I dye them myself. I dye the sheer gloves, I dye the opaque gloves, and I wear them, and I'm able to take them off so that I have access to my actual hands so that I can wash them throughout the day and just feel like a normal person. It's pretty difficult to wear arm socks in my opinion, for the type of sensory needs I have, but if you are able to wear arm socks, you can do that and sew them. I just find it easier to just dye the gloves at the same time as dyeing the leggings, and that just works better for me. When it comes to the neck, just paint your neck and try and find a top. Depends on what kind of cosplay you have, obviously, but try and find a top that's kind of gonna cut it off like right here so that it can be a natural transition. If not, you can paint like to your shoulders and whatever, however your costume works. If there's no real way to make your skin blend seamlessly, sometimes you just have to take the L and you just have to make it look unnatural. You can also wear like a big, turtleneck type of cut sheer shirt or like a zentai, or there are a lot of ways around it, but I personally would recommend just doing it the good old-fashioned way, cutting up some tights and putting a hole in the neck and then wearing them like that. That's what I do. I know we're kind of flying through these. I will definitely give a more in-depth explanation if you guys are interested in it, but I have a couple more tips. Painting my elf ears has really helped me significantly. For Venus McFlytrap, I used to try and just use the oil paint to paint my elf ears, but it would come off and it was annoying me, and I tried to dye them and that wasn't working. You can literally just paint them. You can paint them your skin color. Yes, they're gonna look a little bit like kind of weirdly like airbrushed. They're not gonna have that skin feel, but I personally like the way they look, looking kind of sketchy and like arty. Like the way they're like, I like to brush them so that they look like they have texture, like they're painted by Van Gogh. I just personally like the way that looks. I know it's not natural and some people probably think that's really weird, but I just think it looks really fun. It adds like an interesting like element to the cosplay. I think when I cosplay Link, that'll be really the test of if I want my skin color ears to look like they were painted by Van Gogh, but yeah, I don't know. I think it looks cute though. I really like it and I stand by that. Another thing, I can't keep my mouth open long enough to put fangs in my mouth. I have ADHD, and also I just really hate putting fangs in my mouth, and I can't seem to dry my teeth, and it just never works. Never works for me. I got one of those dental apparatuses to keep my mouth open because I can't physically keep my mouth open for long enough. So we'll see how that works. I haven't tried it yet. It'll be really interesting to see if that actually works for me. But if you're somebody who hates putting in fangs, can't put in fangs, don't like the taste of the fangs, whatever the case may be, I like to paint the fangs on, put some pictures of cosplays where I did that. I got the idea from Draculaura cosplayers because a lot of Draculaura cosplayers just like paint them on their lips, and that has been a lifesaver for me. I am not about the life of putting fangs in my mouth. Maybe that'll change one day. I also do want to get permanent fangs, so I'll probably just do that and never put in fangs again. But I think it's really fun, and I think it's really cute, and it adds like a very different element to my cosplays, and people usually compliment them. They're like, oh my god, that's so cute and creative. I really like it. I think it's really cute. If you don't want to put fangs in, can't handle putting fangs in, don't have time to put fangs in, use some white liquid eyeliner or the white paint from the Athena palette, or whatever white substance you have that will stay long enough on your lips. Don't lick your lips, and yeah, it works in a pinch. I really like it. The 3 final tips might be a little bit long, but I'm gonna try and keep them brief. One of my prompts was to spray or not to spray. So obviously setting spray is a big deal when it comes to long wear, especially when you're going to like a convention or you're gonna be wearing a lot of makeup. Spray is a big deal when it comes to long wear, going to conventions, going outside, whatever the case may be. When I set my face with a lot of powder, I typically don't want to spray it after because that'll cause cracking, especially when you're using something oil-based. Not to say that it's impossible, but I have experienced a lot of cracking whenever I use setting spray on top of using a lot of powder. So with oil paint, I feel like you kind of have to choose one or the other. I personally prefer powder, and setting spray has only led me astray when it came to wearing face paint, but you're more than welcome to try either. I'm not sure how much luck you're gonna have with setting spray. I wouldn't put your heart and soul into a look like this and then put setting spray on it, knowing that it's probably gonna crack. That's just me. I know a lot of other cosplayers that do use setting spray, a lot of other cosplayers who don't. So I would say experiment on a day where the stakes are low. Maybe you're just filming a TikTok inside, or you're just doing a makeup test. Try spraying and see how it treats you. I get a lot of questions about how I do my contour, how I get depth, and I will show you a palette for an example. I have a bigger palette with darker colors, but basically for this look, what I would do is I take like this kind of magenta color and I mix it with like a purple, and you're basically making it look like the person has blood in their body, obviously, by using like a vibrant color mixed with like a deeper, darker color that would represent the shadows. But you don't want to just use the shadows because the shadows can make you look kind of gray, like you're passing away or something. So whatever like color your character is for like the blush, sorry my contacts are bothering me, for like the blush portion, use a more vibrant version of like the color family that you're already in. So for instance, for Terea, my green OC, I used like a more vibrant green on top of her already pale green to represent that she has like green blood in her face, if that makes sense. For this character, whose name is escaping me, for Xanthia, I used like pinkish kind of magenta colors to represent that there's blood in her face, obviously for the blush and for like the nose and for the contour and stuff, and then used this sort of like purple for the contour portions where there's like not as much blood but you're still showing depth. So just play around with colors and make sure that there's enough diversity in the colors that you're using so you don't look two-dimensional and like flat. Eyeshadow's life-saving, and this whole look was use eyeshadow primarily. It's literally just eyeshadow. This is all eyeshadow. This is all eyeshadow. Eyeshadow, 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 eyeshadow on my lips, eyeshadow on my eyes, eyeliner, lashes, boom. A couple good eyeshadow palettes will take you to the next level. Sometimes I contour my face with my regular nose color with eyeshadow. Eyeshadow is everything. So yeah, that's what I use primarily for my alien looks, is literally just a ton of eyeshadow. Last thing I have to say, if you are working with lace, like in my case where I did Raven, and the first time I did her wig it was crazy, the second time looked a lot better, I would tint your lace by using, you can use fabric spray paint, or you can use your makeup, you can use Athena oil, you can use literally anything. Use eyeshadow, tint that lace, don't let it look crazy. If it's HD lace, you might not need to tint it and it'll look fine. But like with Venus Flytrap, it was really hard to tint this lace, and it honestly didn't even work in some places. I had to like go in with a paintbrush and use green, and then I airbrush and I used fabric paint. It was a mess. Trying to get Venus's parts and her head to be green was a mess. Honestly, it just looked like she dyed her hair magenta, and that's fine at this point. But if you have lace, try your best to make sure that it fits the skin color of your body painted character. I definitely want to do a more in-depth version of this video with a live tutorial, but these are just some tips for if you're getting into body paint and you have no idea where to start. These are some really good pointers for just like the do's and don'ts, and just things that I have learned from trial and error with my experience with body painting. All the products will be linked as per usual in my Amazon storefront in the description of the video if you want to check any of them out. I highly recommend all these products because I use them, and I was not sponsored to say any of this. I literally just use these things every single time I paint my face, and me and my core group of cosplayers who also paint their faces swear by this stuff, use this stuff, love this stuff. Pretty sure this is like what everyone uses in the cosplay realm. I know there are people using another brand that's water-based, that's very popular when it comes to body painting and SFX. I personally do not use their products because they're water-based, and I don't really have great experiences with water-based products in general, so I do use oil-based products instead. I'm interested in getting into silicone-based products and like color foundations and things like that as well, but because I haven't found a good color foundation, I'm not going to recommend you one. I definitely recommend this oil mixed with the mixing pigment. And there's my kitty. That's oat milk. I have 2 cats. The other one's off doing something crazy. I hope this video was entertaining. If you want to see more of my OC, definitely check out my ASMR channel. Xanthia made her first debut there the day that I filmed this video, so super fun. If you want to see my looks, check out my Instagram. I post all of my looks there, and yeah, I hope to see you again in the future, and I hope that this video was educational and that it helped you, or that it was just interesting. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know if you want to see a more in-depth version of this video in the future. Bye, peaches!